Well, thanks everybody for coming out here on short notice today, but we wanted to make sure that this cowardly and unacceptable act was getting the attention that it deserved. Sometime between the time services ended here at the Swaminarayan Temple on Sunday and the time a repairman arrived on Tuesday morning, vandals broke into a window here and vandalized spots throughout the building that you guys have seen. The vandal wrote repugnant messages of hate while also writing God and writing Jesus in a spirit that all Christians would disavow and distance themselves from immediately. Our city is a proudly diverse city. We're a welcoming city. We're a global city. We're a compassionate city. And that's who we are, and that's who we choose to be, and we will always be that way proudly and that way loudly. And anytime we see hatred or bigotry in our city, we will stand up and speak against it. The miserable and misguided people who did this, and I will call them cowards, when you break into a house of worship like this and think you're doing something, you're a coward. They have only given our community more fuel and more determination to embrace compassion and understanding and embrace each other. Events like this are horrible when they happen. What they lead to, we've seen this in our community before, is they lead to more understanding of all of us as brothers and sisters, regardless of our worship traditions, regardless of our skin colors, regardless of our countries of origin. What happens is our community speaks loudly with one voice after terrible incidents like this take place. But this is another example of the work we still have to do as a city and as a country to make sure that we live up to our ideals of equality, of a country where everybody is treated with the same respect that each and every person deserves. To help us get closer to that dream, we're doing things about it in our city. We've just announced 12 days ago our Lean Into Louisville initiative, which is designed to help break down the barriers between people and help us to recognize and honor our common humanity and eliminate discrimination and foolish acts like we're seeing here today. So let's do something about this as a city. I'm inviting the public to join my team here at the temple on Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. to help clean up and paint away the hate and send the message to the world loud and clear that Louisville is a great, compassionate city. I know people might be thinking it's really cold right now. By the time Saturday morning gets here, it'll be warmed up again in our community. So please, I invite you, come to the temple Saturday morning, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Adults, bring your kids. Show them what discrimination looks like. Show them what hate looks like. Teach them how unacceptable this is for our community and for them as individuals. At times of difficulty like this, I've seen it many times, our community comes together. It's easy to feel afraid and scared when you're attacked like this, but know that we will get through this together and be stronger for it, because what this does is we've got plenty of social muscles in our community. We're a strong interfaith community. Our Festival of Faiths is seen around the world as the greatest example of interfaith tolerance and acceptance and practice of being a city of brothers and sisters. So we got a lot of social muscles to fall back on here. So bring your supplies to help clean up. Bring your compassion in full as well. And as our city always does, we'll work together to proudly send a message to the people who did this and to everyone in our city and beyond. We will send the message that hate will not be tolerated in our city. We embrace the entire world in our city, and hate has no home in our city. We're going to now have a few speakers to share a few thoughts with us. It's very fitting that one of the history makers in our Commonwealth is our next speaker. She is the first American of Indian descent that was elected to the state legislature in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. We're very proud that she is a citizen of our great hometown of Louisville. Please welcome Nima Kulkarni. Nima?
Thank you. Let me be clear. This was an act of divisiveness. It was an act of intimidation. It was an act designed to weaken our faith and our community. As the first state legislature of Indian origin, I know that we're better than this. I know that our community is stronger than this, and I ask all of our community to show up and stand up against these acts on Saturday. Help us rebuild the ties to our community. To the Indian community, I say specifically, we're here for you. We're here to support you. I know from experience how welcoming Louisville can be. Our family moved here in 1986. We were able to build a life here, starting from a small corner grocery store in the heart of Germantown. I know that we're better than this because I'm standing here speaking to you as the first state legislature of Indian descent in the history of Kentucky. I urge everybody to not be misguided by the act of hate here, to help us on Saturday to erase the words of violence from this place of peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Nima. We're now proud to introduce State Representative Joni Jenkins. Joni?
Thank you very much. As a representative of House Democrat leadership, I am proud to stand with and support my dear friend, Representative Concarney. Our House caucus is historically diverse, and that diverseness makes us richer in government, just as the diversity here in Louisville Metro makes us a very rich community. One of the first calls I made was to President Kent Gilbert of the Kentucky Council of Churches, who asked me to convey that all 11 denominations of the Kentucky Council of Churches denounce this act and will work together to bring our community together. You cannot look at this destruction and not feel it deep within your heart, how wrong it is, and what some people would say it says about our community. But I am standing here today to tell you it does not tell the story of Louisville Metro. We are a compassionate city, we are an inclusive city, and I hope folks will join with us on Saturday to show how close we are as a community.
Many of the members of the temple here are strong community leaders for us. They're our entrepreneurs, our Hindu community, our Indian community represents doctors, engineers. When you look all over the growth that we have in our city right now with globalization, the Indians are frequently at the head of the pack, and for that, I'm very appreciative of that. They've also been involved in much of our compassion and service work before. So I want people to recognize that this may not be where you come to worship, but this is your community as well. And as you see many members of the temple here, you'll recognize them as leaders in our community. We're now going to hear from one of those leaders, Raj Patel. Raj?
Jai Sri Swaminarayan. We're deeply saddened with the event that took place over the last day or two. But what I feel happy about today is the fact that all these individuals have come out to support us, and more importantly, have shown us their promise to make sure that we're safe and we're secure. We come here to worship. We should not have to turn our backs to see who's behind us, but we should be happy to be able to come in here and worship in peace. Our community has done nothing more than give back. Our kids are taught to help our individuals in classes, our students, to become leaders, but to become a leader as an example, not just to tell or be told what to do. I would always invite anyone of any faith to come here to understand the true fundamentals of our preachings and our religion. It's simple, and a lot of our religions are all the same when it comes down to it. The common foundation is to be good to others. And that's all we ask to be over here, is to be good to others as we come in here to worship the same fundamental practices that everyone else in this city do as well. Thank you again for all your support.
Thank you, Raj. Congressman Yarmouth is in Washington. He sends his regards and sympathy here today and his steadfastness to stand with the community as well. Representing the congressman is his division director, Nicole Yates, over here. Nicole, thank you for being here today. And to close us out, we'll have some words from our police chief, Steve Conrad, who not only is an extraordinarily effective police chief, he's also an extraordinarily effective human being. And when he speaks to issues like this, he speaks from a public safety perspective, but he also speaks from a perspective of a strong moral high ground. Chief Conrad.
To come in the temple today and to see the words of hate, the paint on the posters, the desecration of this temple is heartbreaking. We've had too many meetings like this in our community. There were concerns at the Sikh temple after a shooting in another state. We dealt with problems of hate down a river road at the mosque. And here we are again today at the Hindu temple, and it is awful. But the one thing that we've done in every case, and I'm here to do it today, is to assure everyone that attends this temple that we will do our best, number one, to hopefully find and hold accountable the person or persons who committed this burglary, this vandalism, and this hate crime. Second, I want to assure everyone who attends the temple here that we will be here not only Saturday to help clean up this mess, but we'll be here Sunday to make sure you are safe and you can come to worship and not have to look over your shoulder when you need to be focusing on what you are here for, and that is to feed your soul. In terms of the investigation, officers responded and took the basic incident report. Major Mike Bogan assigned detectives to follow up on that information. We are working all the information that we have at this point. We have no suspects at this time, but we are actively working the investigation. Major Bogan, the 6th Division Commander, was here earlier today in a meeting with the committee members from the church and was able to share with them what we do have in terms of the investigation and what the next steps will be. We will do our best, as I said, to try to identify and hold people accountable. Most importantly, I want the people of this temple to know that we will stand with them, we will do our best to keep them safe, and we will do what we need to do to make Louisville a safer city where all of us live and call home. Thank you.